there you have Alex Bowman as we welcome the YouTube audience. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, mashing bells, and all the other fun YouTube stuff, and joining us here on the Final Lap Weekly YouTube channel. Don't forget to do all that stuff and like and subscribe and all that stuff. So Let's get into it. Alex Bowman versus Denny Hamlin. Ah!
Man, this was interesting because you've got a guy like Denny Hamlin who was mad because he had to lead with 5 to go. And it looked like he was going to go on to win this race, obviously, even though Alex Bowman looked very strong.
Sure.
It takes a lot to be able to pull that maneuver off on the bottom side. You've got to have a lot of drive off. And it didn't look like Alex Bowman quite had it. But I think, even if he would have gotten by Denny Hamlin, Hamlin finishing second would have at least felt better than being spun out from the lead with 5 laps to go. But do you think he went a little overboard, Kerry?
I think it's downright rude what he did. I mean, you don't mess with a man's celebration. You just don't do that. And if you look at the video, I don't know. Alex just got loose. It's a racing thing.
It happens. It happens all the time. We've seen this happen many times before.
But what is it with these veterans that think they're so entitled to the checkered flag? That's the part that bothers me.
And the funnier part about it is it's these veterans that have had these same situations that they've been in on the opposite end of it in the past,
right.
And it was okay for them. And now all of a sudden it happens to them, and we're just, scorching sacred ground here. We're not allowed to do that. There's a code, there's a code, man. And it's like, well, I've seen you drive without a code for years too. So
messing with a man's victory celebration, going nose to nose with a car, doing your own burnout, those are just not things you do. It's not okay.
No, and especially if you're a guy that's looking to become a champion in the sport. Denny Hamlin's been very close to this point in his career, just hasn't been able to pull that off, and he's got a chance on Sunday. Could very well walk away as champion.
Yeah. I do not want a driver to win a championship less in my life than him right now. And I kind of was rooting for him. Yeah, I was kind of rooting for him in the middle of the season. And now it's just like, you know what, dude? You're not entitled to anything. This is not your championship. You got to earn it.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. And very well, he could end up earning this thing on Sunday. But yeah, I've got a pretty nasty taste in my mouth after seeing that. I don't like stuff like that. Sure, get out of the car, say whatever you want to say. Maybe confront him in victory lane. Maybe, talk to him this week, confront him in Phoenix, whatever. At the beginning of the weekend, there's qualifying practice, stuff like that. You'll have an opportunity to cross paths. But I think you've lost the race. It's over. That guy's already celebrating. Move on. Don't worry about that part of it.
Yeah.
If you want to, hit up Twitter, if you want to, confront the guy at another time, or even in victory lane, whatever, that's fine. But don't do it with the cars. Don't do it on the front stretch while this guy's trying to celebrate. I just, And then the post-race interview he had was enough. If he would have had that would have been enough. That he would have gotten his point out. It was still a little over the top.
Right.
But at least then, we get it. Yeah, he was frustrated, whatever. But, then he's got time to kind of regroup and become that guy everybody's rooting for the championship. But I don't know. I just don't like stuff like that. I like people that are good sports. And it did not seem like Alex Bowman meant to do that on purpose to me.
And we know Alex pretty well. It doesn't seem to be in his character. I mean, you make mistakes. Things happen. You're racing hard. Sometimes the car, you lose it underneath you, and that's just something that happens in racing. And for Denny to take it personally like he did and think he's just entitled to the checkered flag every week, I mean, it's just annoying at this point. And that seems to be a Joe Gibbs Racing theme, mantra. I mean, they all seem, maybe not Christopher Bell yet, but, give it time.
Just give him time to get with the company.
He'll get brainwashed soon enough, and so.
Yeah, I don't understand though. I don't get it. I'm so confused because I don't recall any other issues between Alex Bowman and Denny Hamlin in the past.
Right.
As far as Bowman roughing him up or anything like that. So it wasn't like this is a thing he's done 4 different times. I know he's upset still about being spun out at the Indianapolis road course, which possibly cost him the regular season championship and all that stuff, and a win at that point. But yeah, I think this was over the top, and it wasn't very befitting of a champion. So
yeah, well, it's a lot of veterans this year. You got Denny, you got Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch. They all seem to be entitled to this checkered flag, regardless of just everybody get out of my way, and I want to win.
Well, you kind of have to wonder if they saw Chase Elliott win the championship last year. You see Kyle Larson kind of running away with things this year. You've got some of these other younger guys. Christopher Bell made the playoffs. A bunch of other the other players, William Byron's starting to show some strength. You kind of wonder if these veteran guys are maybe starting to see the stranglehold they have on the series slipping away a little bit. Maybe their time in the sun is
how it goes.
Close. It is how it goes. I agree. But it's just funny that the ones that have been involved in this kind of stuff the most over their careers to this point are the ones that are that upset about it now that it's happening to them.
Yeah, totally. So they need to look in the mirror and, do some maturing, I think. Just a little bit.
That being said, I fully understand Denny's frustration. I get why he's mad. I just don't think that was the right way to display said frustration. But, it made for good TV. It made for great clicks on websites and stuff like that. So, sure, that's great. Awesome. But
gotta be honest,
it just wasn't the way to do it.
I'm kind of shocked NASCAR didn't do anything to Denny. Messing with the product.
Too. Yeah, although you are going into the championship weekend, he's one of the 4 guys. What can you do to put him at a disadvantage? Send him to the back of the pack? I mean,
that's just too bad.
I mean, what are you going to do, though?
He was messing with the product. I mean, I could not even a hauler visit or anything. I mean,
that's true. Maybe even a fine. Maybe they gave him a secret fine. We don't know.
I suppose, but NASCAR does not like their product messed with. And
no, they really don't.
I think this kind of crossed that line, and we haven't heard about them doing anything. So,
yeah, there's been nothing. I don't know if they sit them down before the championship race, maybe, and go, hey, you two, let's cool it off this week. Let's get through this week.
Well, but why would Alex Bowman be part of that? He didn't do anything wrong.
So that's the thing. And I think that was also part of Hamlin's frustration after what he did. And then, the interview was that he was getting booed out of his home track.
Yeah.
When he felt like he hadn't done anything wrong to that point, but obviously he did the weird thing in the post-race celebration area, but he felt like, hey, I got spun out for the lead and all this other stuff. The guy who spun me out went on to win. They're cheering him. They're booing me. I don't understand what's happened here. But
yeah.
I mean,
by the way, hats off to Alex Bowman. He's got 4 wins this year. Denny Hamlin doesn't.
And so that's the other thing. Did you see Rick Hendrick's press conference yesterday? That was excellent, by the way.
Right.
Amazing job by Rick Hendrick when asked about, Alex Bowman being called a hack by Denny Hamlin.
Right.
Rick Hendrick goes, well, I think Alex has 4 wins this year and Denny has 2.
Yeah.
And then kind of softened it a little bit and then towards the end said, if Alex is a hack, I want more of those.
Exactly. But, I mean, Alex has done it so quietly that nobody's giving him credit for 4 wins. That's an amazing season.
It is. It really is. And especially when you look at how he's gotten these 4 wins, he has capitalized major because that car has not been the best all season long.
Yeah.
But he's found himself in situations by way of strategy or other things where he's had a decent enough car at the end of these races to capitalize. And when the chips are on the table, he's gone and grabbed it. And that's what you have to admire in a driver is that killer instinct, and he's had it here this season. Yeah. And if they can have a little bit more consistent speed next year, who knows? He could be a real contender for the championship.
All right, we got to say goodbye to our YouTube audience. Thank you so much for joining us on youtube.com/thefinallap. Head on over to the podcast if you want to hear more fun and frivolity out of Toby Christie and Kerry Murphy. And we are going to have the final 4 drivers up next. We're going to hear their words heading into this weekend and all kinds of other stuff coming up later on in the Final Lap Weekly.